After a breakup, whether you can reply or can't reply, don't reply. The core principle is simple. Let him feel the loss. If he thinks you are cold, that is exactly the message you are meant to deliver. You are this kind of person, calm, cool, and not emotionally available, on demand. If you didn't see his message at night and you saw it the next day, but the time has passed, then you don't reply. You don't overthink it. You don't struggle with it. You simply move on. If he feels ignored, that's even better. That is the effect you are aiming for. Do not play the slow boiling frog game. If you try to slowly warm him back up, he will do the same to you. And you will be the one who gets emotionally boiled first. After a breakup, if you still give him the feeling that you're his friend, that he hasn't fully lost you, then he will never activate deep reflection. Even if on the surface you remain friends, your attitude must be noticeably cold. He must clearly understand that if you respond at all, it is purely out of politeness and personal upbringing, not because you still emotionally recognize him as someone important. Let him fully experience your distance, even if that distance is deliberate. He deserves that consequence. Otherwise, what exactly are you expecting? To let him enjoy the benefits while still complaining? Is life really that easy? Can someone just do whatever they want without consequences? He's dreaming. Only when he realizes that he has been overly optimistic, that things are no longer under his control, will he begin to think seriously. If he's comfortable, relaxed, and emotionally fed, why would he ever reflect on what he truly wants from you? As for posting on social media, this is an even less important issue. It is entirely about mindset. What you post is your personal choice. The moment you stop considering his reaction, you have already taken a huge step forward. And once you stop thinking about him, happiness truly increases. You will no longer post negative or sorrowful content, because that emotional negativity comes directly from attachment to a failed relationship. After at least 1 month of no contact, selectively posting positive, neutral, or energetic content can have a beneficial effect, but only if it comes from a genuinely detached mindset. Everything in this process is interconnected. Once one link is broken, the rest naturally realign. True independence begins with mental autonomy. When you're emotionally independent, what you post becomes an expression of self, not strategy. Strategy itself becomes the external result of an internal shift. Once you no longer center him in your thinking, your content will noticeably be positive, or you may not feel the need to post anything at all. At that point, even what he posts will no longer affect you. Now, understand this clearly. This is a competition of emotional reactions. If you suffer, he feels satisfied. But that situation leads nowhere. It is merely ego gratification. If you show no reaction and continue living your life as usual, he becomes the one who is unsatisfied. His discomfort becomes the butterfly effect that triggers deeper psychological changes. Everything begins with his internal frustration. That's why winning or losing at this stage is crucial. If you lash out at him after the breakup, yell at him, or emotionally explode, that is a direct display of anger. He will not feel guilty. He will only see you as irritating, weak, and unattractive. But if you simply disappear, this is a high-level response. He will begin to scrutinize his own mistakes, reflect on his behavior, and at the same time perceive you as incredibly composed and attractive. That is the subtle calculation inside a man's mind. Many people hit a bottleneck during no contact. They can no longer convince themselves. They lose discipline and they impulsively reach out. This usually comes down to 3 reasons. The first is fear that the connection will disappear entirely. Second is fear that the other person has found someone new. And third is an intense emotional dependence that creates a compulsive urge to contact them. These 3 often combine. In one impulsive moment, the message is sent and reality delivers a harsh slap. Either he ignores you or he replies coldly, and while contacting him may temporarily satisfy your emotional craving, you will inevitably pay the price: failed reconciliation. That outcome is completely logical. If he truly does have someone new, what exactly are you hoping to accomplish by staying in contact? Are you planning to confront him and say, your new partner isn't right, choose me instead? Do you seriously believe that would work? Since you already know it wouldn't, and you know it will only humiliate you, why hesitate? Why not cut contact clearly? I understand staying in contact gives you a sense of security. It feels better than complete silence. You feel like you're still holding on to something, like you still have some control. But be honest with yourself. Do you truly control the situation? Do you control the direction of events? Can you actually make him come back and reconcile? Why would he want to come back? What exactly attracts him about you right now? Begging, clinging, acting as though you cannot survive without him. Does that look attractive to you? You may seem close, chatting occasionally, feeling familiar like friends, but where is the romantic tension? Where is the polarity? On the surface, you appear close, but in reality, there is an entire universe between you two. The more inseparable you appear, the less misery and attraction exists. Distance creates beauty, not constant presence. If you already know this, why don't you practice it? What are you afraid of? That he'll forget you? That feelings will fade? Your relationship is already in terrible shape. Why cling to what is already broken? Human memory is intermittent. Even if he remembers you now, it is habit, not the irreplaceable love. True emotional memory resurfaces after time has passed, and when it does, it is hard. That delayed pain is what matters. Your subconscious must be anchored in one belief. You're the best person he has encountered. Anyone else is inferior. If you're not worried, then nothing is worth worrying about. This fear comes from a classic weakness mentality, common in the person who was left. Fear leads to reflect. Fear leads to retreat. Retreat leads to loss of power. Loss of power emboldens the other party. If you're not afraid, what leverage would he have over you? I've said this repeatedly. Personality traits are surface level. The core is a contest of attraction. If you're not afraid of losing him, you implicitly reject his superiority, and that destabilizes him. His arrogance exists precisely because your current actions are guided by fear. Many people ask, if no contact works, why do so many people disappear completely? Because value matters. If his value is significantly higher than yours, he has more options. He will move on quickly, and there is no reason for him to return. That is the truth. If the gap is too large, I tell people directly, don't pursue reconciliation. Being together once was already a bonus. Our ultimate goal is to make the other person like you again. But reconciliation is a very low-level, weak, and inferior term. I think most people don't really want to reconcile. Frankly, it's about wanting to mend a broken relationship and make the other person fall in love with you again. It's not about desperately begging and clinging to them, only to have them respond like a parent, earnestly saying, okay, you know you were wrong. That's good enough. I will give you another chance. Romantic relationships aren't parent-child relationships. So true reconciliation doesn't exist, nor is it what you want. Even if you were offered that kind of reconciliation, you'd find it meaningless. Most importantly, it's impossible to do it that way. If the other person despises you, how could they possibly want to be with you? Without letting go, reconciliation is impossible. Because of human nature, if you're begging for reconciliation, you're already looked down upon. Relationships between men and women aren't a benevolent mother-child relationship, but a fierce competitive one. I've said it dozens of times. Why a man and a woman together? Because of attraction. This is the purest reason. If someone is with you because you have money, neither you nor them would be happy, because you're not attracted by each other, firstly physically. So once you understand the essential attraction between men and women, don't you understand the nature of a breakup? What's the point of begging? Begging is against the laws of nature. Therefore, this isn't about teaching how to win someone back. Nor is it about using guys to winning them back to make you let go. That's not the goal. On the surface, you might see it that way, but fundamentally, it's not like that. It's about becoming a true charismatic and a strong person. Only then will you attract others. Then you can not only attract your ex back, but you can also attract more and better people. For low value girls and high value guys. In this situation, the guy tries so hard to find all the excuses to break up, but in the end, he can only tell you something like, "You're a nice person," or "I'm not ready yet," etc. This basically means the girl's value isn't high enough. So even if she has a great temper, the man will think she's boring and challenging, and that her occasional tantrums are attractive. He'll think, "Why aren't you dramatic? You're so boring." In short, he's in a higher position, so he sets the rules. And whatever you say is wrong, he's always right. Therefore, in a relationship, if you feel he genuinely takes your value, then be together. Don't act recklessly, bully him, or throw tantrums. If you don't feel your value being taken by the other person, this isn't something that can be resolved simply by being good-tempered. In such situation, you can only get out of there quickly and shut them down to avoid feeling too much terrible. Everyone hopes to fall in love, but they need to perceive you as valuable enough. So if your value isn't enough, work on improving it. That can become a driving force in your life. Don't waste your time, it's unnecessary. For the other case, if your ex has found a new high-value lover, you are basically in trouble. This new lover is more valuable than you, and your ex is messing with her, so he's very likely to be trapped by her. Men are attracted by women who aren't good to them. If that woman hasn't contacted him, it's fine, but if they have, there's a high chance your ex has fallen for that new person. Once he falls for that new person, meaning the new person is more attractive than you can forget about the future with him. Even if they don't end up together, it's none of your business anymore. Your ex will look down on you from then on. His standards have been raised by this new higher value woman. He will feel like his own status has risen and won't fall. That's the nature of people striving for better things in life. If he were to come back to someone he doesn't like, he'd be very unhappy. Unless, of course, your value also rises to a new level. If you say you're objectively considered beautiful, make your own judgment. Then it's not entirely impossible, but you must start now, just like his new girl, not care about him. Men only get together based on attraction. Don't think about anything else. The common saying that men ultimately choose the one who treats them well is an illusion. This is based on the premise of charming and attainable, and a woman who is treating him nicely slightly. Women who are completely to men are actually less attractive to them. They'll go for the one who mistreats them. Take a fair and objective look at your own and his new lover's value. Does it mean their level completely outshines yours? If they're truly not on the same level, then don't waste your time. If theirs is only slightly better and you still meet your ex's standards, then you have a chance, provided you completely ignore him. Your advantage lies in your past sincerity towards him. However, this sincerity only works when you have charm, and having charm equates to achieving a state of wanting but not getting. In case of the other person got married during the breakup, this is also objectively possible. Before anything actually happens, there are hundreds, thousands possibilities, some positive, some negative. And if you choose to emphasize on the one that puts you in the most unfavorable position, you will force yourself into a disadvantageous situation mentally. With this possibility in mind, your subsequent accustomed behavior will be about how to keep him, maintain contact, be friends, please him, avoid offending him, etc. And this kind of guidance wired in mind, he becomes even more aloof and less likely to be attracted to you again. Breaking free from the barrier of disconnection and accelerating the process through other means, according to Taoism, is called haste makes waste, or in plain words, cheating. To put it mystically, one could use magic. The West has love potions, as described in many books, where drinking one makes the other person infatuated. However, once the effects wear off, the person remains unaffected. Ordinary methods or tricks, manipulation methods, are like love potions. They may be effective in the short term, but in the long term, they backfire, as they are all forcing growth and going against the natural order. Don't fight a losing battle if your personal value is insufficient. Even if someone invests some genuine feelings in you, they can easily walk away after getting tired of you quickly. But you, the one with lower value, will be trapped once your charm is exhausted, and trying to escape will be unbearable. In life, one must understand how to follow the natural order, accept the consequences, and be pragmatic. This will avoid much unnecessary suffering. Moreover, it brings dignity and faith. If your value increases, people will come back to you eagerly, and you will be a hero again. Fortune changes in turn. In summary, first, a person's attitude towards you is related to your value, not how you treat them. Second, if you feel it's related, it's because you are insecure, feeling your value isn't high enough. Third, if your value is insufficient, nothing you do will help. Only by becoming valuable enough can you succeed. Learn to build a sense of framework. The concept of framework is a very abstract yet seemingly substantial word. A framework is a set of self-principles and standards, and an attitude of not easily changing one's principles for others. More fundamentally, a framework is a self-value setting. People with strong framework have high self-value settings, are not easily influenced by others' values, don't easily take others' value, and therefore don't easily make exceptions for others or break their own conventions for them. People with weak framework, meaning they have low self-worth and are prone to self-doubt and wavering, are easily influenced by external values and comments. They easily accept the value of others and thus easily begin to doubt their own value when they like someone, gradually accepting others' influence and their ideas, losing their sense of self-worth, and ultimately being disliked by the other party. Having principles requires a high sense of value. Both necessary and sufficient conditions must be met for success. Otherwise, having principles is just empty talk and slogans. Insufficient inner value easily becomes a lack of principles. People with strong framework are what we call people with strong self-value. Even if their objective values isn't necessarily high, their self-assertion is very firm. They won't give you face or compromise for you. If your framework is weak, you will inevitably be led by the nose by others. If you also have a strong framework, then this becomes a battle of who has a stronger framework, or rather, a duel of self-value. Maintains a steadfast mindset will win in the end. Some may say, why make dating like a war? A constant struggle and competition. Can't we each give one step back to open up to possibilities happily? Let's set aside the fact that the essence of dating is equal value exchange. This is the first law. Actually, this question should be asked of your partner. If this person is energetic, possesses a magnanimous and forgiving personality, and is positive and optimistic, then I believe they will act like a gentleman and give way to the lady first. You won't need to worry about it. However, if you start by giving in and your boundaries begin to weaken and it's easy to spiral out of control, various forms of weak mentality and dependency mindset stem from a lack of self-worth and resulting in inferiority and insecurity. Ultimately, isn't it just a fear that your value won't hold on to someone? If you fall for someone with low energy and low self-esteem who stubbornly cling to their framework, then you've brought this suffering upon yourself. You chose this person. Why did you choose someone with such a flawed personality as a partner? These are all choices that you can make. So, if love is based on value attraction, then by increasing your own value, you will have choices, right? Focus on enhancing your own charm and expanding your network. With a pond full of fish, you will have plenty to choose from. Low emotional intelligence makes it easy to forget your initial intentions. Maybe you initially disliked his appearance, but your emotional intelligence is lacking. You are easily affected by their lack of concern or treating you less nicely as before, becoming unhappy, angry, emotionally invested, even believing you've fallen in love, and arguing with him. The most important characteristic of someone with high emotional intelligence is not being influenced by others. If you initially look down on someone, Stick to your guns. Don't let others' reactions disrupt your thinking. Change your original ideas or make you forget your initial intentions. A framework is essentially a rule unwilling to change for others. If someone sees you as beautiful and capable, and you say something is wrong, they can only agree that is wrong, even if they didn't initially believe it was wrong. That's a framework. In short, a principle. On a larger scale, is a form of influence. The more you reinforce yourself, the more you assimilate others. However, being forced isn't framework, it's resentment. And over time, it leads to negative scores and you're out. The effects of a framework is that people genuinely follow you. Many times it's self-imposed limitations, self-resignation, and simply laziness, being too lazy to act. As for why there are gender inequality here, men can give way to women, but women can't give way to men. That's unavoidable. The root cause is the different social rule positioning between men and women. Men are more intolerant of security, while women are more tolerant of it. A domineering person can seem difficult to get along with, acting out, causing trouble, and creating problems. Even with a high value, it's useless. Over time, nobody wants to cater to them anymore. Domineering people are often perceived as difficult to get along with and troublesome. No matter how valuable they are, it's useless if someone wants to serve them in the long run. Even if you force them to serve, the one serving them must be having extremely low value and may retaliate later. A strong framework is much more impressive, subtle and understated. They appear gentle and weak, but are actually strong inside, which is how they subtly and effectively win someone over. Initially, you seem like a soft lump of cotton, but after getting to know you, you turn out to be quite different. You have many ideas, making it difficult to completely control you, taking them off guard. Each time they feel that they're almost getting to control you, then they fall short. Always just a little short. You cater to them 80% of the time, but the rest 20% of the time you do things unexpectedly and don't do what they want, and you have a good reason for it. He's comfortable at first, then uncomfortable later. The comfortable part makes him subconsciously invest a lot, while the remaining discomfort only makes him want to completely possess you. This is the principle behind the slap and then candy approach. In practice, it requires a life experience and dating experience to master the degree. Too much and it's awkward. Too little and it's insincere.